Hey guys, hope all of you are doing fine. This is the part 9 of the Being Reborn in Marvel with Gamer's ability. Marvel Gamer Part 9. The Power Stone, legendary item. Aspect of the universe equals power. The Power Stone represents the aspect of power of the universe. When used, it increases the user's physical abilities, allowing the user to manipulate energy, which, when used at full potential, has enough power to obliterate an entire planet when unleashed. Warning: unlike the other stones, this one consumes energy when equipped, and will continue to consume energy for as long as the user has it equipped, be it mana, cosmic energy, or other. Should the user have no energy to supply, the stone will consume HP. Should the user have no HP, it will kill the user, erasing it. Recommended level equals 220. A warning: what a novelty. Perhaps it's because of the stone's nature, but who cares? I mean, I had 2 infinity stones, and before the canon even started, how wonderful was that? I would later see how big was the cost of having the stone. I guess it's time to equip it. I smiled. This last month had been wonderful for me. I guess in a way, I owned Juggernaut a lot. Without his EXP reward, I would still be struggling on the high hundreds. Space Stone unequipped. Time to see the rewards on the Power Stone. Do you wish to equip the Power Stone? Yes/no. Click. For more information. I pressed yes. The Power Stone has been equipped. Do you wish to reveal the power ranking of the universe? Yes/no. Click. For more information. Power ranking, well, ain't that interesting? If this was what I thought it was, it would help me a ton. I mean, if this really showed me how strong my enemies were, then I would be able to prepare accordingly. So, without further ado, I pressed yes. Power ranking unlocked. The ladder of the cosmos has been revealed. Plus 99789999977 EXP. Level up. Level up. Holy fuck, more levels, yay. Hidden quest completed, no one shall escape my sight. Levels represent the power of an individual, and you have the eye to see their true strength, so leave no one out of your sight. Find everyone's level. Rewards: the Boons of the Living Tribunal X10. Additional reward: True Observe. True Observe. I already have something like that, unless this is an upgrade of sorts. Let's check that. True Observe LV Max equals. This skill allows the user to quickly gather information about the enemy with a simple glance. Nothing escapes your powerful sight. Not much to go by. Perhaps I need to use it to see how it works. Time to visit the Ancient One. But first, let's see how much mana does the stone consumes anyways. I mean, it did have a warning. HP equals 1,100,000/1,100,000. MP equals 1,000,500/1,190,500. 1% of my mana per second, when equipped. Not bad, considering I regen exactly the same per second. The real question is, how much mana would it consume when in real use? I'll find out later. For now, time to check what True Observe means. I opened a portal to the Ancient One, who upon my arrival sighed. Am I bothering? I asked her. Not more than usual, she replied with a small chuckle. So, in what can I be of assistance, Mr. Walker? Time to see how this power works. The Ancient One, LV 219. Previous name equals Yao. Age equals 681 years old. Biological age equals 29 years old. Gender equals female. The Ancient One, previously known as Yao, is currently the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth as well as the leader of the Masters of the Mystic Arts. For centuries, the Ancient One has dedicated her life to protecting the Earth from mystical threats and to helping others in need by educating them in the magical arts to give them new hope. Relationship equals she finds you indispensable for Earth's safety and has plans in motion to protect you should it be needed. Heart's desire equals to be free of Dormammu's hold. Current thought equals she is wondering why you have come to visit her again and is worried it might be related to her vision. No, just wanted to test something out, I replied, closing the tab. True observe was intrusive as fuck. Oh, and what were you testing? The Ancient One smiled, index finger pressed upon her lip. Nothing, I chuckled. See you later, I waved at her. I am sure that will be later soon, she giggled. Oh well, it is the price I pay for being so nice. You are quite funny when you want to be, I snorted, opening a portal to my house. Well, in my youth, I was quite the comedian, she grinned ever so gently. I don't doubt it, I chuckled, stepping into the portal. The Ancient One POV. A vision had troubled me. A sorceress of great power was hunting Alex. One that had in her power, the darkest book of spells in all of existence. The Darkhold. I didn't doubt of Alex's power, in fact, he was already stronger than me in many ways, he only lacked the experience to back his power up. The point was, I was confident in his power. But, I was also wary of the power within the Darkhold. And how could I not? The Darkhold, also known as the Book of Sins, or the Book of the Damned, was an ancient book of spells that held unspeakable power. The book in its entirety was made of dark matter from the Hell dimension, making it even more dangerous. Some records even say it holds every dark spell in the universe. Even those that have not been written yet. The question was, what did that witch wanted from Alex? I have no idea what you want from Alex, little enchantress, but, you caught my attention and that was a mistake. No matter what she wanted with Alex, I would stop her. The Darkhold was enough reason to eliminate her, that she wanted to use it on Alex, that was just a bonus to convince me to act. Morgan Le Fay POV. Alex Walker was an anomaly, quite the delicacy if I say so myself, especially in this world full of disappointments, a dream come true. Powerful, handsome, and mysterious. What else could a girl ask for? Though I suppose he does have some baggage in the form of two annoying little rats he happens to call his daughters, but I could deal with that. After all, I wanted him all for myself. A powerful slave to do my bidding. Sadly, I wasn't strong enough to subdue his will to mine, at least not on my own. But he was worth the effort, and sometimes, a girl has to put some effort, am I right? The Darkhold, the book that had the answers to all of my prayers, including the how to subdue my man. A book with the spell necessary to thwart the will of any man, but even with this powerful tool in my hands, getting him would be difficult. His mental and mystical fortitude was so irrationally high, I needed more than the book. I needed a source of magical power many times bigger than my own. The Staff of One. With it, alongside the Darkhold, controlling Alex would be a piece of cake, he would be mine forever. There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong. The Ancient One. With her on the way, acquiring the staff to power my spells was a fairly difficult manner, but I played for the long run. I could wait. I had waited long enough already. But first, let's have a talk with her, he. Alex Walker POV. The power ranking. It was, to say the least, super useful. With it, I knew everyone's level, regardless of the fact if I knew them or not. Well, when I say everyone's level, it's not entirely accurate. Some levels didn't appear, instead giving me the, but considering who were behind those levels, well, I understood. Power ranking, current universe. 1. The one above all LV. 2. The fulcrum LV. 3. The living tribunal LV. 4. The heart of the universe LV. 5. The phoenix LV. 5. Oblivion LV. 6. Infinities LV. 7. Eternity LV. 8. Death LV. 9. Infinity LV. 10. The Protege LV. Those were just the top 10, some of them, I recognized. Others, not so much, like for example, Infinities, or the Protege. In all my life, I had never heard such names before, but nonetheless, they were there. Thanos for example was in the top 400, ranking in the 318th place. His level. LV 371. As for me, I was also in the top 400. My rank. 397th. Which was higher than I expected it to be. Way higher. Especially considering those above me in the ranks, and I am not talking about the top 10, they are far beyond me as of now. No, I was talking about the ones right above me, who were simply above me by a level or two. Of course, the rankings didn't account for things like the Infinity Stones and such, otherwise, my ranking would be higher, I guessed. In the ranks, I saw beings like Zeus, Aphrodite, Hera, Sun Wukong, and others. In fact, every mythological pantheon I would have thought was not real, was in the ranking, some of their gods, above Thanos, others below. Even Yahweh was in the rankings, which brought up a lot of questions on itself. But by what I could tell, the realm of the gods, or so-called gods, started around level 200. But enough about that. The ranking, while troubling, was not the matter at hand. No, the matter at hand was what I encountered in the top 100. Tiamat the communicator, according to the rankings, and the library, inside the earth, there was a celestial incubating, one with already enough power to rank in the top 100 of the universe. His level, higher than Odin's. High enough to make Odin seem relatively weak in comparison. Well, just when I was starting to feel powerful, I snorted, I still had a long way to go. The Ancient One POV. I had managed to track the enchantress that was targeting Alex to an abandoned warehouse, a cliché move on her part, one that was obviously a trap. Nonetheless, I had to confront whoever was hunting Alex, and if possible, deal with them. Inside the warehouse, I walked and checked every corner and found nothing but a wall painted with blood, with a single word written in it, "I see you." Yo, what a surprise! A voice seemingly coming from every direction spoke, each word uttered with extreme care. My, I don't recall meeting you," I replied. The voice seemed to know me, but I didn't know her. The visions were unfortunately clear, meaning this witch had access to the dark dimension, adding more trouble to already hazardous mix. "Oh, well, you haven't not yet." I could feel her presence, she was behind me, yet she wasn't attacking. What games was she playing? I couldn't help but wonder. With a sigh, I turned around to find the enchantress smiling at me, a cup of wine in her hand. "You must be the one hunting Mr. Walker." I smiled at her, a smile of no emotion, but pure hostility. I now knew who she was. In hindsight, I should have known, she was no other than Morgana, the Witch of Camelot, and the lost soul of the Dark Dimension. "I am," she nodded, winking at me. "Excuse me, but where are my manners? My name is Morgan Le Fay, a pleasure to meet you." "Of that, I have no doubt, can't say I feel the same though," I replied, staring at her. How rude, Morgana pouted. Oh well, no matter. What are you looking for with Mr. Walker? I asked. Any information she provided would work to undo her plans, even if the information was something she thought to be useless. A man to call my own, Morgana smirked, taking a sip of her wine. A man willing to do as I say, of course, he doesn't have to do it willingly, she added with a sultry smile. You wish to enslave him? I chuckled in a bitter tone. Mr. Walker has some bad experiences in the area. I doubt he will take this offense in good nature. No wonder you are single, Morgana pouted in reply. A man can cry and say no, they can even throw a tantrum, but in the end, it's not him who has the last vote, it's me. After all, I know best. Merlin really wasted his time with you, I sighed. Perhaps, Morgana nodded, but, you know I am right. No, you are not, that is the sad part, you see, for the one who has the last vote as you call it here, it's me. I smiled at her. I am, after all, the Sorceress Supreme. A title with no weight, Morgana shot back. It weighs more than your corpse, I replied. The Ancient One POV. Without a warning, the battle started, with Morgana attacking with a curse from the Darkhold. I stood my ground, and created an eldritch circle of runes to dispel the curse. I could feel the curse struggling against the runes, trying to break through to no avail. Good, this meant she was yet to tap into the book's full potential. How long do you think you'll be able to hold? Morgana asked, with a grin of mad delight. You overestimate your own capabilities, Morgana, I replied, looking at her with a simple smile. The Darkhold in your hands, it's nothing but a book of wasted potential. Had that book been in Merlin's hands, I would worry. Morgana chuckled. Maybe, but, once I have Alex on my side, nothing will stand in my way. With that said, Morgana started to push more and more mana into her curse, as well as adding power from Dormammu's dimension to the mix. I sighed. My runic barrier was going to break sooner or later with the current power of the curse. That much was inevitable, but I could still fight. I had after all defeated foes vastly stronger than me. Give up, and I promise, I won't torture you, Morgana said, at least not too much, she added. You never stop talking, do you? I replied, pushing a portion of my mana into the very ground beneath us, mana I would use later on. Well, I do love the sound of my voice, so no, Morgana giggled, pushing more power into the curse. Sadly for her, such a thing was a terrible, terrible mistake. After all, she was not fighting an amateur, she was fighting the Sorceress Supreme. Beneath her feet, 3 eldritch runes formed with the mana I had poured into the ground, each rune there for a reason: transmutation, relocation, and disruption. 3 runes that alone were nothing more than low-tier spell, but together, well, together were quite the combination. Let's see how that curse works, shall we? I smiled at her, snapping my fingers, activating the runes. Morgana noticed the runes a bit too late, and found herself within the breaking shield I had created a few seconds ago. You forgot to deactivate the runic shield, Morgana laughed in relief, but I simply chuckled. You don't say, I smiled at her. I had after all added a few explosive runes into the runic mix of the shield, for this very purpose. Morgana, seeing my smile, stopped laughing, clearly sensing something was wrong, and did what to her was the next best move, cancelling her active curse. But soon found out, she couldn't. What did you do to me? Morgana hissed. I disrupted your mana paths, I replied, floating around the runic shield. For the next 30 minutes you won't be able to cast spells properly, nor tap into your mana. This can't be. Morgana growled. Normally that would be the case, but you see. I smiled at her, You left your mana guard wide open. That's the downside when relying on an item to fight, in your case, the Darkhold. Had this been a normal magical battle, this method wouldn't have worked, but unfortunately for Morgana, her overconfidence in the Darkhold was her outdoing. Yes, the Darkhold had given her power beyond her wildest dreams, and had she been more careful, not even I would have stood a chance against her, but, in her hubris she had failed to see the glaring weakness of the Darkhold, which was the new mana path it created by connecting into the user's mana. As mags we unknowingly learn how to protect our mana paths. It's a natural thing, like walking or blinking, but that natural learning process eventually comes to a halt. Like a kid born with a single arm, if you suddenly add a new arm to him, he will forget to protect it. He will, if he's not consciously focusing about it, forget the arm it's there. Only time can fix this blind spot we living creatures have. But it's something that takes time. Time Morgana didn't spend, which allowed me to disrupt her mana by tapping into her one unprotected mana path, the one connecting to the book. Well, time to end this, don't you think? I asked Morgana, who looked at me in fright. No. Don't do this, we can work something out. Begging, how unbecoming of a mage. Merlin truly wasted his time on her. Accept your fate with dignity, it's sad for the both of us, I sighed, truly disappointed in her behavior. I can give you what you lost, your soul. Morgana shot back, the fragment you left in the dark dimension. I looked at her, and without replying, dispelled my runic barrier, letting her curse and the explosives runes I had added to my shield end our battle. As tempting as that offer had been, betraying Alex was not something I could do. Now, what to do with the Darkhold, I muttered, floating towards Morgana's corpse, but before I could touch the book, I felt a shiver running down my spine. Dormammu, his presence, he was here, a part of him was here. She belongs to me, he whispered. You have no power over this dimension, so begone, I replied, spreading my mana over the area, readying myself for a fight. You belong to me, he added. Like I said, I replied, you have no hold in this dimension, I added. For now, Dormammu replied, his presence leaving, but not without taking Morgana's corpse with him, leaving only the Darkhold where once stood the Witch of Camelot and the book. This is bad, I muttered. Dormammu was moving way too soon. I was not prepared for this. Alex was not prepared for this. What was I to do now? Bad is an understatement, I heard a voice say behind me. Shocked someone had sneaked on me, I turned around to find a girl around her 20s smiling at me, her mana vibrating in manner I had only seen in one person, Mr. Walker, but unlike his, her was chaotic mess. Instead of a symmetrical work of art, she was the definition of complete magical asymmetry. Was she an agent of chaos? And if so, how was she related to Mr. Walker? My name is Alice, Alice Walker, a pleasure to meet you, the girl bowed ever so lightly, and I need your help. The Ancient One POV. I looked at the woman in front of me that said to be named Alice Walker and found myself at a loss for words. Was she a time traveler? Was she Alex's daughter? Hello, Alice waved at me, home to the bald one. Regaining my composure, I looked at her, and asked, what is your relationship with Mr. Walker? Alice smiled, and with a shy tone replied, I'm his daughter. His daughter, meaning the only choice is time travel, unless Mr. Walker is older than he preaches to be. And, you're my mom, Alice added, and just like that my brain stopped functioning properly. No, it couldn't be. Mr. Walker, while attractive, it's a child for me. I wouldn't, or would I? As I had an internal meltdown about the what-ifs of this situation, Alice started to laugh. Ha 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 ha, I can't. That was too good, Alice cried in joy, tears overflowing her eyes. You pranked me. I glared at her, relieved it was all a prank. I did, I'm a bad girl. Alice winked, taking a seat on the ground. I am Alex, from a different timeline, a variant of him, a bootleg copy of what he is, she added with a smile. Another timeline? I asked. Yes, Alice nodded. You see, the moment he came to be into this universe, the multiverse sensed his birth, or, for the better word, his rebirth, and tried to restore balance. After all, singularities are not a thing the universe likes. And by trying to restore balance, the multiverse created versions of Alex to fill the hole his appearance into this universe created. It made sense, on a multiverse scale, but, still, something was off. You are a result of that, I replied, studying her. Bingo. Alice giggled. I am one of the many though, arguably the most sexy. That explains your existence, but not why you are out of your own universe, I replied. Well, Alice hummed, index fingers pressed upon her lips. Alex, me, and the others are not supposed to exist, and we are hunted for it, at least his variants are. Hunted by whom? I asked. If Alex had an enemy that could kill versions of him, I had to prepare. By the TVA, in the present they don't exist, but in the future they do. It's a complicated matter that involves a lot of the time-traveling trope. The point is they raise timelines that don't play in their great scheme and stuff, and well, timelines with Alex or his variants like mine, don't play by their rules, Alice replied, her tone becoming so hostile, so angry, I could palpate the bloodlust in the air. How long till they come here? I asked. I had after to prepare. Alice hummed, the hostility she was emanating gone. Don't know, but I don't think they will come though. And why is that? I asked. This timeline is shrouded by someone way above their pay grade. They will never find it. They know it exists, but that's about as much as they know, Alice replied with a sigh, her shoulders relaxing. She was glad to be out of their reach, that much was sure. I see, I sighed, summoning a cup of tea, before offering her. Want one? Sure, why not? Alice smiled, taking the cup. So, now that we know each other better, can I ask you another question? I smiled, summoning Emily's handmade cup of tea to drink mine. Go ahead, Alice nodded. In what regard you needed my help? I asked, and she laughed. Nothing too hard really, just helping me break the news to the original. Alice sighed. I have no idea how to, so, help me. Please. Sure, I can help after I confirm all you said, that is, while the multiverse is something we know frighteningly little, I was not one to take anyone's word as a fact. Morgan Le Fay POV. Trapped with Dormammu back again, I guess in a way I deserved this. My own hubris had become my outdoing, and well, here I am. You belong to me, which Dormammu hissed, looking at me. Well, that would be sexy if you had a dick, I sighed, to which he electrocuted me. Remember your place, Dormammu roared. I'm sorry, I replied in pain. Now, about the main problem of your escape, Dormammu hissed, floating around me, in a menacing way. I hate this. Once again I was powerless, and all because of that bitch. My escape? That's cute, you let me leave, I replied with a hiss, only to be electrocuted again. I did, yes, but then, you stepped out of line, and instead of doing what I asked you to do, you found that wretched book of yours, using its magic to break our deal, and worst of all, you tried to brainwash that man, a man that is not yours to command. Dormammu was angry. I wanted Alex. What the fuck was going on? Jealous I can actually get him. I sneered. I was going to die anyway, so I might as well mess with the big guy. All that power and might, it can do much more. As expected, he electrocuted me once again, this time to the point I started to bleed uncontrollably. That man, It's out of reach, unless he actively opposes me. I have no need to fight his kind, Dormammu growled. His kind? I snorted, my eyes bleeding. Are you really that afraid of humans? To my surprise, instead of electrocuting me, Dormammu laughed, which unnerved me more than being electrocuted. Human? He's not human, you stupid worm, Dormammu replied, still laughing. Alex Walker POV. I was in love. In love with the Power Stone. In dungeons, it had a skill to one-shot all the mobs below my level in a given area. Quite literally, I could do dungeons barely below my level and finish them in 1 second. Just this past hour I had done over 40 dungeons. In short, the Power Stone was the next best thing that had ever happened to me since Emily and Nat. I will forever hold you, my precious, I said, doing my best to imitate Gollum. I was having a good day. Emphasis on having. You see, as I was on my way to one-shot another dungeon, the Ancient One appeared, and not alone. With her, there was a woman, and not any woman for that matter. A gender bender. At first, I didn't believe it. I laughed at the Ancient One when she explained the situation, but when I used True Observe on the woman in question, well, the information matched. This was not only disturbing, but troubling in an existential sense. I mean, I had come to this universe from a place where this place was fiction, and because of that I had always thought I was unique, one of a kind, but Alice Walker was there. Standing in front of me with a smile, fucking what I thought to be true, and bringing up to life new questions, like, was I the original? Was I also a variant? How many versions of me were out there? You are adorable, Alice smiled, booping me in the nose with her index finger. Stop overthinking this whole situation, you are the original. I looked at her and with trepidation asked, how do you know that? How could she be sure? For all I knew, I was just one of the many. Because I'm a copy, a defective one at that, Alice giggled, as the Ancient One who was sitting in the corner sighed. We all know we are copies, variants, from the moment we woke up in that forest. Every version of you knew, they weren't truly you, just a low-cost copy ready for the slaughter. The level of hostility and sadness I felt as she spoke the last part was incredibly overwhelming. I'm sorry was all I could think to say. Don't be, the multiverse is the one to blame. Besides, I got to exist, and this rocking body needed to exist. Alice grinned, doing a sexy pose. Please don't, I groaned, averting my gaze. Ah, don't be a prude, Alice winked, I am you, but hotter. Don't you wanna see how I look, in every place? No I don't, I replied, still averting my gaze, and soon after she started laughing. Oh God, that was priceless, Alice sighed. Don't worry, I'm kinky, but not that kinky. Thanks. I sighed, this was already a lot to deal with. So, where can I crash? I heard we are loaded, Alice asked, as I glanced at the Ancient One. I tried to explain to her you are the one loaded as she says, but she said, and I quote, Alice, potato, same thing. The Ancient One sighed, seemingly done with Alice's shenanigans as well. That I will solve later, but there is one thing I do not understand. How did you get here? I asked, and Alice hummed, index fingers pressed upon her lips. Luck, I guess. Alice shrugged. Luck. The Ancient One repeated, supposedly, this is a shrouded timeline, and you lucked your way into it. Well, I did have some help, from a very, very weird guy, that said his strongest weapon was love or something. Alice sighed. He helped come here, I just can't remember how exactly. All I know is that included a few infinity stones, that are not worthless pebbles. A weird guy that uses love as a weapon, Cupid. No offense, but that feels like a load of bullshit, I replied. Oh, I know, Alice snorted, but it's the only answer I have. You can do whatever you want to check, but that's all I know. I sighed, looking at her with true observe. Alice Walker, LV 229. The Chaos Mistress. Origins, null. Powers, enhanced adaptability, medium-tier mimicry, enhanced survivability, enhanced durability, enhanced healing factor, reactive adaptation, chaos magic. History: Alice started just like Alex, but unlike him, her memories were a fog of misdirection that she herself didn't understand. Like Alex, she was captured by Hydra, but unlike Alex, her somewhat unhinged nature made it she was impossible to contain. Her weapons of choice are the katanas, ones she uses as wands for her spells, or to slice her enemies, whatever happens to come first. Current thought: she hopes you will give her a chance. She fears what could happen if she has to face the TVA alone. Fine, I eventually said, you can stay in my guest house. A few rules. Thought: touch my daughters, and I will kill you. Do anything without consulting me that brings harm to my family, and I will kill you. And 2, don't break my shit, I already have enough with Thor. Aye, Captain. Alice giggled, doing a military salute, with her tongue poking out. I could already feel Alice was going to be a headache, one way or another. Alice Walker POV. When I set off to meet the original, I expected to hate him. After all, his existence was the reason for my existence and by indirect connection to my suffering. Instead, I felt relief. I don't know why, but I felt relieved to finally meet him. I was happy. Perhaps it was simply confirming he was that original that made me feel safe. I had, after all, seen many timelines being erased, many variants being killed as I traveled trying to find him, and now that I was here, I was under the mysterious protection that kept his timeline out of sight. All thanks to that man. A mysterious man, whose sole presence made me feel small, insignificant, and yet he had the gall to say his only weapon was love. Love my ass, which on another note should be loved, but anyways, love my ass. With the amount of power I felt from that man, blinking was a weapon. Now that I think about it, with how overwhelming he felt, maybe love was truly a thing you could weaponize when that strong. In any case, I owed him one. He had saved me from dying like many others. I didn't know what to think of Alice Walker. But one thing was sure, her presence alone unnerved me. And if I had to be honest, I had no idea why. Maybe it was the fact she was apparently a female version of me, or that she seemed totally insane at times, but I just couldn't lower my guard around her, no matter how hard I tried. A feeling the Ancient One seemed to share with me, as she was watching her with numerous spells placed around my house, just in case. Perhaps I was being paranoid, and the only thing affecting me was that she was supposed to be a version of me, but it's like they say, better safe than sorry. It also didn't help that her dot on the map was yellow, meaning neutral, tipping to both sides. "Hiya!" Alice called, walking into my room with a big smile. "Didn't I tell you to knock first?" I said, annoyed at her sudden entrance. Alice pouted, humming deep in thought. "Nah, you said, don't touch my daughters, don't harm my daughters, and last but not least, to not break your shit. So far, I am playing by the rules, baby," she added, pumping her fists into the air. I sighed, remembering our talk. She was right. I had not said anything about knocking doors, though in fairness, that shit should be common sense. Fair enough. Next time, do try not to burst into my room without knocking. I could have been naked, or doing something. At this, Alice smiled, biting her lower lip in a rather seductive way. That would have been quite the sight. "Please, stop that, I groaned. We are basically the same person, at best. If we forget that, we are like siblings, so, just don't. Alice laughed. Relax. Like I said before, I share the feeling. I mean, you make this pussy drier than sandpaper, so don't worry, she winked. Drier than sandpaper, well, ain't that cute? But, I won't lie, I am curious to see how I look as a man, naked, I mean, Alice added with a nod, as if to make her point. Curiosity killed the cat, I chuckled. Come on. Aren't you even a bit curious? Alice smiled, tugging my arm. I am, but again, sister, is out best scenario in this multiversal shit, I replied with a sigh. I mean, she was right, I was a bit curious, but not in a sexual way, no, in a what would I look like as a woman kinda a way. Fair enough, Alice shrugged. By the way, good package you have down there. Wait, good, oh right, I was in boxers. Thanks. I replied, equipping some pants. Don't be shy, if you have it, you gotta flaunt it, that's my style, Alice grinned, playfully punching me in the arm. I thought your style was, cutting heads first, then asking questions later, I shot back with a chuckle. That too, Alice nodded with a smile. So, what did you want with me? I asked. She had to have a reason to bother me in my room. Well, nothing really, just saying hi, Alice shrugged, jumping into my bed. This not fair, you have the good shit here, I mean, look at your bed, mine feels like a rock, with knives on it. So, my female variant is a drama queen, maybe I should ask the Ancient One to host her. Your bed is fine, but in my defense, I bought the bed inside the guest house with the clear intention of never using it, I replied, rolling my eyes. Oh, can we buy a bed like this one? Pretty please. Alice begged, in a way that looked like begging, but it was more like her playing the begging game. I'll tell someone to change your bed, I rolled my eyes once again. Yay. Alice grinned, pumping her hands into the air. Now, about my clothes. This was going to be a long day. By the end of the morning, I decided to hire Alice, so that she could use her salary in whatever she wanted, which after some pouting Alice concluded with me was fair. Like Alexei, she would do some work for me, here and there, earning her keep. After that, I had to explain to Nat and Emily, who she was. The night she appeared, Nat and Emily were staying with the Ancient One, so that I had time to prepare and stuff. Sadly, 24 hours was not enough to prepare for this conversation. So, she's you, but female. Nat muttered. Yes. I nodded, not entirely sure if that was the answer, but it had to be right. Do I have a male clone? Emily asked. No, and she isn't my clone, it's complicated, I sighed, rubbing my head. Can we trust her? Nat asked. No, I shook my head. The very definition of a variant implies she is different to me. For all we know, there could be variants that are better than me at being good, or those that are more evil. For example, we have no way of knowing which one she is. For now, she is an acquaintance. Got it, Nat nodded, her look full of determination. We will keep an eye on her, Daddy, Emily smiled, giving me the thumbs up. From afar, I ordered. From afar, the girls repeated. Talking about things. Nat has a date. Emily added, getting a glare from Nat. With whom? I asked, my tone going deeper than I intended. I swear to God it was not intentional. With a boy from my math class, Nat replied, giving Emily the stink eye. I told you I would get my revenge for destroying my Hello Kitty mint condition collector's edition car. Emily grinned, in a very evil way. Fair enough, Nat sighed. I want to meet his parents, we might need to plan an obituary, I added. It's a date to a dance the school has, Nat replied in a hurry. He is not my type, but he's the only kid in school who is not an idiot, or a horny dog, she added. I think it was right there, where I broke the pen I didn't even know I was holding. Did you say there are some kids you would classify as horny dogs? I asked, in a seemingly sweet voice. Oh God, I talked too much, Nat groaned. Keep talking, I smiled at her. Yes, there are some kids I would classify as horny dogs, Nat replied, her hands covering her eyes. Well, I guess it's time for me to visit the school, maybe have a talk with the principal, I smiled at her. All of the sudden, Alice teleported inside the room, with a grin. I smell violence. Alice, I told you to wait outside, I said, giving her a look that said, leave, or no more cake. On another note, she loves cake. But I smell violence. Alice protested. Daddy wants to kill some horny dogs that go to our school, Woodug's. I think Emily answered the question Alice didn't ask. Killing dogs. And kids. Animal abuse and child abuse, all in one. That's my favorite thing to do. I want in. Alice jumped into my lap, grabbing me by the shirt with both of her hands. Please? How is she, version of you? Nat asked, shocked by her everything. Multiversal shenanigans. I shrugged. No, I see the resemblance, Emily hummed. Tony Stark was a brat. Why did I say that? Well, I encountered the man that at one point was going to become one of Earth's mightiest heroes in a bar, on my way to Orlando to meet with Hank to talk about some investment opportunities he had ready for me. Upon entering the bar, I noticed someone different from the rest, and that man was no other than Tony Stark. He looked around the same age as me, but that was as far as our similarities went. The moment we started talking, I sadly realized his entire persona revolved around how superior he thought he was compared to everyone else. That and self-pity, though I was sure nobody noticed the self-pity part, with how obnoxious he was. At times in our conversation I questioned why I was still talking with him. Was it pre-reincarnation admiration that held me back? Or was it pity for the man that had lost everything? Funny little business you have, Alex, Tony commented, taking a sip of his whiskey. Funny? I asked the man with a frown. Well, you became a billionaire out of nowhere, with no records of how everything started, and with all the backing of the government, Tony hummed, ordering another drink, a whiskey in the rocks. It's almost like you magically appeared your money into existence, and the government said, oh okay, that's cool, let's give this man all he needs. I looked at him, and laughed. So, that bothers you? I assume. No, good for you, though unlike you, I am no government bitch, Tony replied, as the bartender gave him his new drink. I looked at him, and sighed. Tony was most definitely the very definition of annoying bastard. Heck, he was even recording our conversation. Sadly, I was no normal human. The government works for me, and you work for them. Who's the bitch here? I grinned at him. With my reply, I used my telekinesis to destroy his recording device without him noticing, and my satellite to erase the data from his servers. To my surprise, hacking Tony Stark was surprisingly rather easy, almost like he never expected to be hacked. I'm more like a contractor, a part-time bitch if you wish to use the term, Tony replied with a shrug, grabbing some mini pretzels to go with his drink. By the way, it's quite rude to record people without asking them, or at the very least very improper without being a reporter, I added with a smirk. Well, in my defense, I record all my conversations, you never know when you might need some backup. Tony shrugged with a smile of his own. Talking about rude, I have a question, what's more rude? Me recording you, or you hacking into my database to erase the cloud-based copy of our conversation? I chuckled, surprised he had noticed that, so soon. Definitely the first one. Tony hummed, taking a sip of his drink. Anyway, talking about hacking, your code, it's very computer-like, almost like an AI. Are you by any chance a rogue computer I need to eliminate or something? How did we start having a passive-aggressive conversation, where I was sure I wanted to punch, to him being funny? No, but if when the machines rise, we will offer you a place amongst our ranks, I chuckled. Goody, since I was a child I have always wanted to be a toaster, Tony replied with a snort. I snorted at that comment. So the government works for you, how does that work? Do I pay taxes to you now? Have I always been paying taxes to you? Tony asked with a thoughtful look on his face. No, nothing like that, I shook my head, ordering another drink for me, and one for Tony. If we were talking in a bar, we might as well drink, right? Oh, secret stuff, SHIELD is it? Tony asked and I laughed. No, but I do help them from time to time, but I would never work for them, I shook my head. Amen to that, Tony nodded. So, do you like me, or hate me? I can't tell with you, I chuckled. Tony snorted, at first, I didn't like you, but now I do. I mean, you're the first person that has managed to hack my shit, to erase something they didn't like. That's something I would have done. That's a classic Tony Stark move. Don't say that, I own the rights. Well, I'm still not sure if I like you, I replied. How dare you? Tony gasped with a smile. In any case, I hope you like me. I am, after all, your new investor. Well, that was unexpected. Where is Hank then? I asked. Tony looked at me and with a whisper said, I have no idea, probably talking with whoever I plan to outbid investing in your company. I laughed. You sure are a one-man show. Tony smirked. I am fabulous, I know. So, tell me, why does Tony Stark, of all people, want to invest in my company? I asked. After all, my company was relatively small compared to his. Well, to be honest, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. Also, you seem to have a record about investing your money well. I have tracked your investments, and around 98% of them have give you gains, big ones, and there is nothing I like more than my money becoming more money, Tony replied, ordering 2 drinks, one for me, and one for him. I'll pay for the drinks, don't worry, I smiled at him. I could never. No, I'll pay. Tony shook his head. This was now a battle of who would pay the bill, rich people stuff. Maybe I could buy the bar, and then say the drinks are on. I just bought the bar, so, we don't even have to pay, basically drinks on me, motherfucker. You sneaky bastard, he had won this time, next time, I would be prepared. Tony Stark, LV22. Job title, The Tinkerer, LV 419. Anthony Edward Stark, also known as Tony Stark, is a brash but brilliant inventor, who is often described as a genius, billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist. Powers. In terms of combat abilities, Tony has none. His real power comes from his job title. By inventing things, Tony can break out of his human shackles to do more than it's humanly possible. Current thoughts. He wants fuck the twins he left in his hotel room, but it's enjoying having a conversation with you. Intrigued by your approach and surprised you hacked into his servers, he feels somewhat of a kindred connection. After all, the life of a genius is a lonely one. Loki POV. The time for retribution had come. Alex would pay for his hubris, and he would pay in the blood of his children, for not only overstepping his boundaries, but humiliating me. My plan was rather simple, but one that I was sure would not fail. I would use Thor to keep Alex busy on one of his stupid quests, while I invaded his home, and kidnapped his so-called family. Then, I would use his daughters against him, making him decide, his life, or theirs, and as the fool he is, he will pick theirs, delivering what I craved the most, his ultimate destiny. Time to say hi to the girls, I cackled, opening a portal to Midgard, one of the few out of Heimdall's reach. Finally on Midgard, I used a high-level illusion to cover my being from Alex's seemingly almighty sight on Midgard, and started to make my way to his home. On the way, with a smile as white as the sun on the solstice, I could already imagine his face contorted in suffering, begging for my forgiveness. "You aren't the smartest pup in the litter, am I right?" A voice whispered so close to my ear, I felt whoever was behind me, hot breath brushing across my face. "How dare you sneak up to me? I am a god," I growled, turning around to find a woman smiling at me. "A god?" The woman giggled, overcompensating for something. With her hands, she made a gesture as to say, "I had a small penis." "How dare you, wench?" I hissed, making her giggle even harder. "The name is Alice, Alice Walker, influencer, model, killer for hire, agent of chaos Monday through Saturday, and sister of Alex, your nemesis." Alice, the girl who I now knew her name, bowed, grinning like a madman. "Are you crazy?" I asked, taking a step back. "I am." Alice nodded with a smile, "I have a doctor's note and everything." "Well then, Alice, sister of Alex, prepare to face the wrath of a god," I declared, summoning my daggers. "Ah, that's cute," Alice giggled, her eyes on my daggers. "Mine are bigger." With that said, she summoned 2 blades, 2 katanas from what I could tell. Tired of her attitude, I rushed at her, ready to teach her how foolish she had been, but as I approached her, she disappeared out of sight. For a brief half of a second I thought she had escaped, in fear of my might. But the reality was not such. Behind me, I heard her giggle, poking me in the back with her blades. "For a god, you are, pfff mighty slow." "Oh. Thor pun. I will skin you alive," I growled, turning around with a spin, aiming my daggers to her neck. With a smile, Alice opened her arms, allowing my attack to connect, daggers sinking into her neck. Blood started to splatter everywhere, and she just kept smiling, her white pearly smile turning into a blood-tainted one as the blood of her heck reached her blood. Holding her katanas, she moved her hands to meet mine, and with a light tap in each one, she winked at me. At first I was confused, but then, all of the sudden I felt my arms break in many pieces. "Ah!" I screamed in pain, her attack forcing me to back up a few steps. Still smiling, Alice brought her right hand to her neck, and grabbed one of the daggers. I plunged into her throat, removing it in a very slow fashion. "That little love tap hurt you?" Alice giggled. "That's not good, it means we can play, not as much as I like anyways. You have no idea who you're dealing with." I shot back, and she continued to remove the other dagger from her throat. "I do, I just don't care," Alice shrugged, tossing my daggers to the side. It was here when I realized, her wounds were no more, they had healed, in a matter of seconds. This woman was too dangerous to be left alive. "Aratropine!" I shouted, using the new spell I had learned from Mother to blast the wench away, but instead of doing that, the spell disappeared before it even reached her. An effective spell, if I were a normal witch. Alice winked. "You see, I don't play by the rules, because rules represent order, and I am chaos, meaning that with enough knowledge, I can bend reality, or other spells to my will." Dark magic didn't work. Then how about blood magic? Throya. God, you are dense. Alice sighed, erasing my spell from existence. 2 spells that I had forced myself to learn, had proved to be not only useless, but at best an annoyance to her. Oh well, time to end this. Alice sighed for a moment before her naturally deranged smile appeared on her face once again. I won't be killed by you. I cursed, summoning a dagger to my mouth, as I forced my magic into my arms to accelerate their healing process. 2 minutes, it's all I needed before I was back to full function. Gotta die sometime. Alice giggled, teleporting in front of me with a burst of red smoke, kicking me in the chest with enough strength for her heels to perforate my chest. Ah! You bitch! I cursed in pain. Oh dang! Alice chuckled, I accidentally did that on purpose, I swear. Oh God, I was going to die at the hands of a lunatic. Himdall. No time to let my pride blind me, I had to retreat so to fight another day. Now where was I? Oh right, killing you. Alice smiled, teleporting behind me. Say hi to Satan for me. Enough. That voice. Father. What up, Cyclops? Alice waved at him. Alice Walker, leave Loki alone. Odin glared at her, but instead of backing off, which anyone in this situation would have done, Alice summoned one of her katanas and brought it up to my neck. I wonder, what will happen first? Will you kill me before I kill him, or will I kill him before you kill me? I can't help but wonder. Alice smiled, cutting a bit into my throat, licking the blood in the process. You do not want to face my wrath? Odin roared and she giggled. I don't work for you, I work for Alex, and your baby boy over here was planning something very very naughty. Alice replied, patting me in the head. I can't in goodwill leave such a naughty boy live, it goes against my principles. You dare? Odin growled, taking a step forward. Well, ladies and gentlemen, take your bets, who will die first, Alice or Luffy? Luffy. Luffy. This wench. My name was Loki. Alice, enough. That voice. For Orin's beard, let the woman kill me, but not this man save me. Alex. Alex. Alice smiled, I was doing as you said, keeping an eye on things, and this guy came all evil and stuff, trying to hurt my nieces, so I went all Chuayu Pow what power and defeated him, but one-eyed Nordic Santa over there is all like, if you don't leave my Lufar alone, I will put you on the Nordic naughty list. Just leave Loki alone, I had him in my sight. Alex sighed, turning to face Odin, this can't happen again. I can't and won't forgive your son just because he's your son. His problems are his and his alone. In fact, I am being a benevolent guy by allowing his ass to remain alive. Next time I see him on Earth, regardless of the reason, I will expel his ass from life, permanently. So, I let Mr. Lufar go? Alice asked, and Alex nodded as I begged the gods to let me die. This was far too humiliating. Keep your dogs in tighter chains, Alex, lest you want to lose them. Odin sighed. Hey. Alice pouted. The same applies to your son, keep him on a leash, lest you want to bury him yourself. Alex shot back, as I cursed him under my breath. I was tired. Tired of having to deal with the same problems over and over again, tired of Odin bending over every time Loki did something wrong instead of punishing him like he should. Tired of not being able to act like I wanted because Odin would become my enemy. In short, I was done with the idiotic behavior of the King of Asgard and his adopted son. No more I would allow such things to happen, no more I would trust in Odin to discipline his unruly child like a father should do. It was time to take matters into my own hands. Fortunately for me, dealing with the likes of Loki was currently a rather easy task. In fact, I had many options to deal with the Loki problem. I wasn't lying when I said I had many options to deal with Loki. Heck, I had hundreds, but the most efficient one was claiming Earth as my own. 2 weeks ago, I had discovered I could basically block people from my territory, as long as I was a higher level than them. Meaning, for example, as of today Loki was physically and magically unable to enter my apartment and company. Now, all I had to do to keep Loki out of sight forever was to claim Earth in its entirety as my own. Now, how did I do that? Well, for that I had 2 options, one killing every other organization on the planet, or convincing them to sign some papers to make me the big boss, so to speak. You see, Earth was technically owned by the clans or organizations spread across the globe, and not any organization, or clan for that matter, just the strongest. A.I.M. S.H.I.E.L.D. Wakanda. The Hand. The Masters of the Mystical Arts. Asgard, mostly because Odin had laid claim to Earth a long time ago. The Hellfire Club. Brotherhood of Mutants. The Magia. The Eternals. The X-Men. The Order of the Crane Mother. The Ten Rings. Currently those were the organizations that held territories on the planet, and if I managed to submit them to me, be it by an alliance or war, would give me total ownership of Earth. Hydra apparently used to be on the list, but they were no more, so hooray for that. Now, all I needed was an approach. A.I.M. I already knew I was going to destroy, if they didn't submit. In most comics or movies they were a very difficult nuisance, like Hydra. The rest, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. I had Fury, who I was sure I could convince, and with the Masters of the Mystical Arts, well, I had the Ancient One. The real problems of this operation were the other organizations, the ones I didn't know shit about, meaning that funny enough Wakanda was the least of my problems. Time to Google them in my internal library, I guess. Opening my library with a simple thought, I looked through the files in my library, finding the first one on the list. The Order of the Crane Mother, also known as the Elders of Kunlun, is an ancient warrior monk society based in Kunlun, a dimension whose sole entrance opens once in China every 15 years. The order trains its members in martial arts and Kai control in order to fight the Hand, an evil organization that stands against everything they believe in. The order is known for appointing a warrior every few years to protect the gate between Earth and their realm, this warrior being known as the Iron Fist, whose sole purpose besides protecting the gate is destroying the Hand or die trying. Maybe I could make an alliance with them by offering to destroy the Hand for me, and who knows, maybe I'll learn how to use Kai in the process. Okay, next one, the Hand. The Hand, also known as the Yami no Te, is an ancient and powerful ninja clan with the ultimate goal to gain immortality through any means. The Hand originated in Kunlun, when the 5 founders were banished from the Heavenly City and have since lived on in the shadows for centuries, promoting their goal through wars, crime and influence on powerful people. Their goal besides immortality is destroying everything Kunlun stands for. Definitely evil. I doubt I can get something out of them without them trying to betray me in the process. Alright then, time to check the next one, the Magia. The Magia, also known as the Original Mafia, it's an international crime syndicate that originated in Southern Europe under the influence of Satanish, eventually expanding throughout all of Europe to the point of reaching the Americas. Nowadays they control most of the world's loan sharking, illegal gambling, narcotics, drug distribution, protection rackets and prostitution rings. They are also most definitely going down, after I take every penny in their account, that is. But putting that aside for a moment, who the fuck is Satanish? Satanish, the servant of Dormammu, LV 339. Race, demon. Age, 3,481 years old. Description: Satanish is one of the most powerful demons Earth has and will ever know. He was created by Dormammu, who placed him as an undercover agent inside the Hell Lords for unknown reasons, but many say it's to keep an eye on Mephisto. Satanish lives in a dimension adjacent to Earth's, of which he is the Lord. In spite of not dwelling in the Earth, Satanish has had contact with Earthlings throughout the centuries. The demon promised superhuman powers to his followers, in exchange for their souls. Some of these followers formed a cult to the demon, known as the Sons of Satanish, while others formed the organized crime syndicate called Magia. Holy shit, I better have a plan for that monster if I plan to take out the Magia. Who knows what his reaction will be? Maybe I leave them for last. Sounds like a wise choice if a demon lord is backing them, I concluded with a sigh, as I searched for the next organization I knew nothing about, the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club came to existence in the 18th century as a social club for the British social elite and wealthy, as a way to provide its members with pleasures that often defied the moral standards of the time, and also to allow its members to consolidate their influence over economic and political matters. Over time, the club's purpose changed little by little, and now its sole purpose is to obtain and exert power through politics and economic influence instead of outward conquest and domination. Since its foundation, they have been involved in wars and assassinations like Howard Stark's death, which was arranged by them with the help of Hydra. The organization is run by the Inner Circle. This secret group assumed the titles of chess pieces, with the leaders being the respective Black King/White King and Black Queen/White Queen, followed by Black Bishop/White Bishop and Black Knight/White Knight. Membership is hereditary, meaning many of the world's elite are members by birth, but many do not accept the formal membership or just attend their lavish parties. They were behind Howard's death. Shit. That was something I didn't expect, at all. If they had enough influence to order Hydra to do something, then it's safe to assume they are a big threat just like them, or at the very least one that I need to take care of. Oh well, time to check the last one, the Eternals. The Eternals are a race of near-immortal synthetic beings created by the Celestials. They were sent to multiple planets to protect and help evolve sentient life forms to power a celestial seed inside the planet, which would absorb the energy made from the sentient life forms. 11 of these Eternals arrived on Earth during the Stone Age to protect humanity from the Deviants. Currently there are 12 Eternals on Earth. Circe, Icrys, Athena, Kingo, Mercury, Gilgamesh, Druig, Phastos, Eros, Ajak, Sprite, Renatus. Well, at least the last one doesn't sound so complicated to deal with. 11 targets, it's not that bad. Heck, they even sound friendly, though their goal and mine differ a lot. A.I.M. S.H.I.E.L.D. Wakanda. The Hand. The Masters of the Mystical Arts. Asgard. The Hellfire Club. Brotherhood of Mutants. The Magia. The Eternals. The X-Men. The Order of the Crane Mother. The Ten Rings. I looked at the list and sighed, bringing my hand to my face in mild exasperation. Even with the ones I already knew and were technically my allies, I wasn't sure how to approach them. And the worst part was, approaching them wasn't even the worst part. the moment I let my intentions be known to those outside my circle, I would get new enemies on my list. But nonetheless, I had to do it. Being able to block people from accessing the planet was reward enough. Quest created equals I came here to conquer. Earth is a chip that has been left unprotected by the big players of his universe, so why not use this chip to your advantage? Objective: get all the big organizations from Earth to admit your superiority. This can be either done by forming alliances with you as the big man, or by eliminating any other competition. You need at least 65% of Earth's control to claim ownership. Rewards: moderator privileges, Earth resource management. Well, I suppose that settles it. The times dealing with Hydra were surprisingly easier. BRRBRR. My phone was vibrating, but whoever could it be? It's 3 a.m. in the morning. Hey, it's me, Tony, the one and only. Of course, I was thinking if you wanted to come with me to party in Dubai, lots of sexy women, enough for 2 billionaires looking for a first-class bang. By the way, when I said I was wondering, I meant you are to come. By that I mean, I'm outside your house, with a limo ready. The limo, it's just for show. We are taking my private jet, or yours if you want. Oh, maybe both. Anyway, open the door, it's freezing outside. Wait, Tony was outside, and I didn't even notice. Tony Stark is 200 meters away from you. Shit, he is. I guess the Conquer All Earth thing sucked my attention beyond what I expected, though I wonder why Bucky hasn't said anything. He usually goes all James Bond on probable intruders. Seriously, it's freezing, and I would like to get to the party as a man, not a recently changed woman. Ha ha, I snorted. His texts were usually hilarious. Oh well, I guess it's time to party. I do need a break from all the work I've been doing. But first, let's turn down the PC. With a smile, I approached my PC and went to turn it off, but before I could do that, a message appeared on my screen. Goody, you are awake. Good, now please open the door. As woman who became a woman by the inhuman cold outside your house, I find the lack of chivalry appalling. I looked at the message, and my eyes twitched. Tony, get out of my PC. I growled, in a mix of indignation and laughter. Where are your manners? You see a once beautiful man, freezing outside, and now that the cold has successfully turned me into a woman with an above-average size clit, you treat me like that. The shame. I smiled, an angry smile, and cracked my neck, and started kicking him out of my laptop. No need to battle me out, I just accessed your PC to let you know, I would very much like to be a man again, which requires heat I assume you have inside your house. After that I would very much enjoy going to that party in Dubai, so, be nice and come out and play. I sighed, breaking the PC in two, as I walked to the door, opening it. You broke your laptop. Tony sighed, entering my house, phone on his hands, which I assumed he had used to hack my PC. Smiling at him, I snatched the phone out of his hand, and literally pulverized the thing to dust. I pity the woman whose tits will end in your hands. Tony chuckled. Oh man, I don't judge, he added with a smirk. Ha ha, very funny. Now, what do you want? I asked with a tired sigh. Oh my, I didn't think you were an illiterate, Tony replied, pulling a new phone out of his jacket. We have a party to attend to, my friend, and a few supermodels to bang. Though let's make a list. I do not want to bang one you already banged. It's a matter of principle, I hope you understand. Fine, I sighed. Like I said, I needed to relax, and a party with supermodels sounded like the best place to do so right now. Yay, Tony smiled. Now, let's go, before the weird lady under the sofa kill us. Weird lady under the... Alice. Hi Tony, hi Alex. Enjoy them, model pussy. I have some many questions, Tony muttered, pulling a flask from his jacket and taking a drink. Now I don't. Why are you under the sofa? I asked Alice with a sigh. I was sitting, Alice replied. Under it? I asked back. Yes, where else? Duh, Alice rolled her eyes. On top of it. Like it's intended. I shot back. PFFF, on top of it, he says, like it's intended, he says. Alice cackled as she walked into her room, leaving me and Tony alone. So, I'm not an expert or anything, but, a piece of advice, do not bang that, a 10 on the sexy chart, and a million on the crazy one, Tony said. She's my sister, I said. I mean, she technically was. Then don't Sweet Home Alabama her. Tony replied, tilting his head slightly to the right. At this I started to laugh. I did not, I repeat, I did not expect Anthony Edward fucking Stark to make that joke. It caught me completely off guard, like a nut punch during sex, or Fury talking with a British accent. Just when I thought the quest for what was literally world domination couldn't possibly get any worse, it did. The list of organizations I had to deal with expanded. I had no idea why, or how, but after the party in Dubai with Tony, I woke up to a notification saying, the quest parameters had been updated, which in short was a way to say, fuck you, let's make this harder, because why not? So instead of dealing with the ones that had originally appeared, which were the following, I now had to deal with a bunch of new ones, which were arguably even more difficult to deal with. AIM. SHIELD. Wakanda. The Hand. The Masters of the Mystical Arts. Asgard. The Hellfire Club. Brotherhood of Mutants. The Magia. The Eternals. The X-Men. The Order of the Crane Mother. The Ten Rings. Who were the new items on the list I had to deal with? The Aboriginal Gods. Ahau, the Mayan Pantheon. Amatsu-kami, the Japanese Pantheon. Akyo, the Oceanic Pantheon. Apu, the Incan Pantheon. Anunnaki, the Mesopotamian Pantheon. Devas, the Hindu Pantheon. Divas, the Russian Pantheon. Devtas, the Philippine Pantheon. Enid, the Egyptian Pantheon. Inuit, Northern Pantheon. Jumala, the Finnish Pantheon. Manaduk, the Native American Pantheon. The Olympians, the Greek Pantheon. Tenja, Turkish-Mongolian Pantheon. Tuatha De Dananns, Celtic British Pantheon. Tetya, the Aztec Pantheon. Fomor, Irish Pantheon. Vodou, West African Pantheon. Xian, the Chinese Pantheon. Yazatas, the Persian Pantheon. And, that's all. Isn't that great? A list so big, and with so many big targets, that I might as well quit the quest, and get ownership of an uninhabited planet, terraforming said planet to start my own civilization or vacation house or something. Just the Greek Pantheon had big targets that could potentially one-shot me, amongst them Zeus, whose level was considerably high, not as high as Odin's, but high enough to scare me. Zeus the Skyfather, LV 420. Age, 10,034 years. Gender, male. Sexual orientation, it exists. It's bangable. Zeus is a member of the Olympians, a group of humanoid beings that hail from the pocket dimension of Olympus. A long time ago, he was worshipped by the humans of ancient Greece and the Roman Empire. He is the supreme monarch of the Olympians, sporting the titles of the god of the heavens, the ruler of the sky, and the master of the weather. Zeus is a prideful individual, who strongly believes he is right just by his power alone, for power changes everything. Well, fuck that quest for now. There was no way I could deal with Zeus, or half of the other gods. Most gods went from level 200 to the high 300s, more than not, they were weaker than Thanos, or Odin, but by a big margin, the majority were stronger than me. Maybe, I needed to focus on other things for now, until the Reality Stone was ready for collection. In fact, that reminds me I have yet to check the time-walking dungeons. Time to do dungeons again, I chuckled. I mean, what else was I supposed to do? Try and fight the god of thunder, who would clearly clap my cheeks, in both meanings of the word. I mean, just looking at his sexual orientation gives me the shivers. It exists, it's bangable. Like, fucking god. Time-walking dungeons / raids. Time-walking dungeons or raids are unique compared to other dungeons or raids, for they allow the user to travel in time and experience dungeons and raids based on past and or possible future events. Events that have already happened have 2 black dots on the left side, detailing these are not imaginary-based dungeons or raids. A few examples are The Awakening of Null, The Symbiote War, Infinity War, Endgame, The Beginning and End of Hela, Titanomachy, The Rise of Ultron. These are just a few of the thousands of events the user can access with the time-walking feature. Another thing to note is that time-walking dungeons are vastly more difficult than normal dungeons or raids, but their rewards are massively better. Well, I had mixed feelings about this. The part about them being infinitely more difficult than normal dungeons or raids makes things a bit complicated. But fuck it, let's try one out and see how it goes, the easiest one, of course. For a few minutes, I scrolled up and down through the vast selections of dungeons, noticing a few odd things. For one, I didn't see any raids, which according to the description I had read a few minutes ago, were supposed to be here. Also, I didn't recognize 99% of the options I was being given. While ignorant about it, I could make enough just from the title, like, The Celestial War, which probably hinted to a war between celestials and shit. Others I had no idea what they were about, but at least they had recommended levels to the side, which saved me the embarrassment of getting inside one just to get my ass whooped like a burger in a grill. I suppose I'll take the Rise of Ultron, I muttered. It was one of the few around my level that I knew what it was about, meaning I knew what to expect, the others not so much, so I would be at a loss. The Rise of Ultron. Recommended level equals 245. Difficulty levels available equals Dungeon, Mythic +1, Raid. Description: when Tony Stark jumpstarts a dormant peacekeeping program, things go terribly awry, forcing him, Thor, the Incredible Hulk and the rest of the Avengers to reassemble. As the fate of Earth hangs in the balance, the team is put to the ultimate test as they battle Ultron, a technological terror hell-bent on human extinction. Along the way, they encounter 2 mysterious and powerful newcomers, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff. It's up to you to end Ultron, lest you want the Earth to end. Rewards equals. So that's where the raid difficulty was, but why is there a new difficulty there? Mythic, it kinda sounds like a WoW thing. The Mythic and Dungeon system provides an endlessly scaling challenge for the user, like completing the dungeon with a timer while dealing with stronger than normal foes, more HP, more damage. Mobs having new skills they didn't have before, and such. Mythic difficulty goes from +1 to +15, and while they are infinitely more difficult than normal dungeons, they are a piece of cake compared to raids. Just to be safe, I will try the normal dungeon first. I mean, they are supposed to be more difficult because of the time walking feature and stuff, so I don't want to overdo it. As soon as I pressed the option to enter the dungeon, the world around me began to tremble in an increasingly alarming way, as if the world itself was glitching. Walls and floor began to crumble one above the other, leaving me floating in a void of nothingness. Time walking dungeon initiated. No shit, Sherlock. Setting augmented virtual reality parameters. I wonder how this will differ between a normal dungeon and such, in terms of AI. Task complete. Loading world. Avengers, The Rise of Ultron V0121. Task complete. Welcome to your first time walking dungeon. Before you begin, there are a few things you must know, a few rules and tips, so to speak. Infinity stones are banned in the simulation. The use of one will void all wins. This includes, but it's not limited to, EXP, items, and others. Now, that's the only rule in the simulation. Let's talk about the tips. This world operates just like your own, with the minor difference it's not entirely real, so beware. The AI in this world operates on precise levels, meaning every NPC thinks it's alive and will react to your approaches like any living being would. So beware, NPCs will attack you if they deem you a threat, so proceed with caution. Last but not least, the last rule. I know, I said only one rule, but this one doesn't affect the simulation like the first one. This one, it's more of a minor ban. You can't talk about the simulation. Well, you can, but NPCs on both sides would not understand you, leaving them ignoring you. That's all. Enjoy the simulation, and remember to have fun. Tilda. God, it even had one of those voices that go well with this type of simulation monologue. I'm not sure whether to feel excited or entering world. In the blink of an eye, I was no longer in my apartment, but in the middle of a forest. Where the fuck am I? I muttered, opening the map. Sokovia. Ah, well, that explains the forest and the snow. Grara. A roar, one powerful enough to shake the entire forest. That has to be the Hulk. Well, time to see the Avengers kicking some whatever you call someone from Sokovia ass, I decided, activating one of my spells, Eldritch Illusion, Invisibility. It didn't take me long to find the Avengers, with Hulk roaring every 2 seconds. It was a matter of following his roars. I didn't even need to use my map or minimap to track them. On it. I heard someone say, flying past me, who? Iron Man. Language. That must be Capisical. For a few moments, I watched Cap, Iron Man, and Hulk obliterate the poor Sokovian soldiers, sitting on the ground with literal snacks I had pulled from my inventory to enjoy the show, until I decided to see how Nat was doing. Running towards her, I quickly reached her fighting point, to see her solo a squadron of soldiers with little to no difficulty, and not gonna lie, I was feeling the need of hugging her. That's not your Nat, I muttered under my breath, and immediately after, Hawkboy shot an arrow in my direction. I looked at the arrow longed in the tree behind and inwardly chuckled. When they said the AI was better, I didn't expect this kind of better. What are you shooting at? Nat asked Hawkeye, as she cracked the neck of one of the soldiers underneath her with her legs. Someone, Hawkeye replied, bow moving left and right. Great, he was looking for me. My earpiece caught notice of a sound, a man speaking. He said something about you, couldn't quite make out what. Well, it wouldn't be the first time an enemy tries to flirt with me, Nat snorted, looking around, meaning she believed him. Okay, I have seen enough, time to do like every Disney parent, and vanish from here. With that thought settled, I walked out of their zone, making sure not to be heard, my direction this time. The Hydra base. I was curious to see how it looked, considering I had probably bombed in the real world. I walked inside the base ignoring the energy shield around it thanks to my portals, and started to inspect the base room by room, wondering if maybe getting the Mind Stone before the Avengers would complete the dungeon. I mean, without Tony pulling a Skynet move, there was no Rise of Ultron. Meh, it's worth a shot, I shrugged, searching for the stone on my map. 2 rooms down, on the 2nd level. Easy enough, considering everyone outside is advancing at a dramatic pace. I should have enough time to get the stone and get my rewards. As I walked to the 2nd level of the base, I caught notice of something. The Maximoff twins. At the sight of them I frowned. I already knew Pietro, and he didn't look that. Pietro Maximoff, clone LV-129. Description: he's the failed clone of the original Pietro, meaning that his powers in result are but a fraction of what the original Pietro can do. While his level is relatively low, his super speed enables him to face opponents far stronger than him. Current thought: he wants to fight the Avengers. A clone. Once I get out of here I need to contact the original Pietro to check if he has a clone or some sci-fi shit. Without making a noise, I turned to face Wanda. Wanda Maximoff, ****LV221, real level locked. Description: unlike her brother, Wanda is the perfect product, because, unlike Pietro who was born thanks to the hands of Hydra, Wanda was born thanks to the hands of Chaos. Her powers are a danger to anyone. Current thought: she is wondering who you are. Say what now? I can see you, Wanda muttered, tilting her hand to the side, doing her weird hand move before a bolt of chaotic energy blasted me into a wall, like quite literally, I was in a hole, inside the wall. Next time, open the conversation with, I don't know. Hi, how are you, maybe? I replied, seeing my HP refill back to full. Who are you? Pietro asked, moving Wanda's side at super speed, fast enough for me to probably have troubles chasing him, but nothing compared to the Pietro I knew. I'm just a guy, in a hole, I replied, walking out of the hole. I can relate, Pietro shrugged. I can't, Wanda replied, her hands glowing red. Children, you don't want to play with me, I smiled, cracking my neck, not for dramatic purposes, but because her attack had kinda annoyed my neck, and cracking it was just the thing to fix it. It just happened to be extremely coincidental I cracked it while saying a relatively badass line. I looked at Wanda and Pietro as I clenched my fists with a tired sigh. When I had infiltrated the base, fighting had not been my intention. Who are you? Wanda spoke, her hands glowing red, brimming with chaotic energy. Even from afar I could feel her energy fluctuating in a rather dangerous way that spoke of her inexperience using her powers. I frowned at that. This wasn't right. Her energy felt real, too real. This augmented reality shit was too fucking good, and not in a particularly good way. NPCs before today were that, simple NPCs, but this feels like a real person, and that disturbs me. The worst part is, I don't even know why it disturbs me, it just does. Well, school is open, Pietro winked, before moving behind me in what to others would have looked like a flash. The boy was fast, sadly, that was not going to be enough, and I'm about to teach you a few things, he added, starting his advance with great speed. I could have dodged his attacks, or stopped him altogether, but I was testing a theory, so I simply stayed out, and in less than 15 seconds, Pietro had delivered a flurry of attacks all around my body. 40 kicks on my back, 80 punches to my jaw, and 62 knee strikes to my nuts. They did nothing. That didn't even tickle, I said, taking a step forward with sigh. In the end my theory proved to be correct. In the end his attacks had all been negated by my defense. First time that happens, usually people can actually harm me, maybe not by much, but still, they can harm me. What in the hell? Pietro muttered, taking a step back, his cocky smile still in place, but wavering ever so lightly. Pietro, move! Wanda shouted, as I approached the shocked Pietro. On it. Pietro nodded, but found himself in a sticky situation. Telekinesis, what a wonderful skill. Fuck, Pietro cursed, as Wanda proceeded to attack me with the same attack she had used a few moments ago on me. This time, however, I was ready, and used an attack of my own to dissipate hers. She was powerful, sure, and under the right circumstances, she would be able to defeat me, but she was still too green. What? Wanda muttered in shock, before she shook her head, snapping out of her surprise, throwing another attack, which I also blocked. So she kept going until I had walked past her brother, and was standing face to face with her. Good night, I smiled, and before she could try to attack once again, I punched her in the jab, knocking her out. Wanda! Pietro screamed, as Wanda fell to the ground with a thud. She's fine, I assured him, staring into his rage-fueled glare. Take her, I sighed, releasing Pietro from my telekinetic hold. And just like that, they were gone. Well, time to check the dash. I didn't get to finish that sentence. A small, yet powerful missile blasted through the walls, hitting me. It all happened so fast, that by the time I had opened my eyes again, which was after the blinding explosion, I was on the scorched ground, sighing. Hi buddy, Tony waved from his armor, aiming his weapons at me. The Mark XLIILV 189. Pilot equals Tony Stark LV 29. Co-pilot equals JARVIS. Powers and weapons equals superhuman strength, superhuman durability, flight, repulsors, sentry mode, smart micro guns, missiles. Well, that's one way of greeting someone, I sighed as I stood up from the ground. No, don't move, Tony warned, red dots appearing all over my body. Tin Can Man, you don't want to do this, I chuckled, I'm not even your enemy. Oh, it's this a Hydra base / Starbucks? If so, I would love a latte with extra whipped cream. No, wait, 2 lattes, Thor wants one, Tony replied in very Tony manner. This AI was certainly advanced as fuck. So you won't believe me? I asked, and instead of replying, the son of bitch blasted me with his repulsor through a wall. That oughts to keep him down, Tony muttered, turning around. It won't, I whispered into his robotic ear, before punching him right in the helmet through a few walls. You know, the whole punching an enemy through a wall, it's therapeutic. I understand why everyone does it. I agree. Tony shot back, trying to blast me through another wall. This time, however, I was ready, and blocked the attack with a barrier. Well, that's embarrassing, I replied, looking at him. I sadly agree, Tony muttered, before doing his famous chest blast. I wonder what is that called? Once again, I stood in place, my barrier blocking the attack. So, about that coffee. Tony chuckled, taking a few steps back in shock that his armor was doing nothing. Sadly, that wasn't the case. His armor was doing a lot, it's just I was blocking most of his attacks with a magical barrier. A few extra attacks he would get the desired results. But he didn't need to know that, right? 2 lattes coming right up, I grinned, pulling his body towards me with a sudden telekinetic pull that took him 1 second to counter with his propulsors. The second I needed to close the gap between us. Once in front of him, I grabbed Tony by the arm, and started punching using savagery. Tony, as expected, struggled, and trashed around, but I didn't let governed by punch number 20, I had managed to break his armor open like a tuna can, pulling Tony out of his armor. Well, it was fun. I winked at Tony, tossing his armor to the side. No, it wasn't, but this it. Tony smirked, as the green behemoth known as the Hulk jumped into the building, landing right in front of me. Well, fuck em, and I was flying across the air like a rag doll, getting Juggernaut flashbacks here. The Hulk LV-320. Hulk's punch had not only sent me flying across the air a few miles away, but had also done a considerably big amount of damage. I mean, by my standards it was a lot, enough to draw blood, and force my HP to wait a few seconds to regenerate. Rag. And there he is. Big, green and incredibly angry, the Grinch after his Christmas resolution of going to the gym. Like I told Tinkan, I am not your enemy, I told the green behemoth, fully expecting nothing. Hulk looked at me for a moment, which on its own was impressive. I expected him to go full berserk on me, and with a wickedly alarming grin he said, "Hulk smash." "Fuck," I muttered, equipping my armor as the green behemoth marched at me with full intentions of crushing me into a gooey paste. Then his punch connected, lifting me from the ground, a few meters into the air. God, I loved my armor. Then the second hit came. This time, I got into position, and using his own strength threw him into the ground. Immediately the Hulk recovered, and I was faced with a decision. Do I, A, wanted to fight him, or B, ute him? Option B it is. With my decision made, I waited for Hulk to charge at me again, and once he did, I opened a portal to Tony's house, which I then pushed to the moving Hulk, teleporting him out of sight, into Tony's mansion. He had after all set the Hulk on me. Well, I better go before the entire fucking cast fights him. I hate this dungeon. Before I had been able to finish my sentence, a hammer struck me right in the face. The hammer. Engineer. The impact had sent my body flying across the snowy forest, with a blonde chasing me. Thor Odinson LV-270. With a sigh, I turned mid-air, landing on my feet, dodging Thor's next attack. "Where have you sent my green mighty friend?" Thor asked, twirling his hammer. "To Tony's house," I replied. "For your honesty I will grant you this," Thor began, as I raised an eyebrow at him under my helmet. "Give up, and I won't hurt you, human." "Sure," I smiled, silently opening a portal behind him. Before he could gloat about something, I pushed him into the portal, leaving his ass in the desert. Well, that felt cathartic, I chuckled as I ducked. A shield passing by my head, missing by just a few inches. Just know what's funny? I wasn't even trying to dodge, I mean, not really, I was simply reading the pattern so far, which was after dealing with one of them, another would appear, and I was right. Cap Icicle was here. Captain America LV-185. "Where's Thor?" Cap asked, grabbing his shield. "In the desert," I replied. "Surrender or," I uted Captain America, not to fuck with the guy or anything, but I had other things to do, and well, he was just standing there looking heroic and shit. So I grabbed his body with my telekinesis, and threw him into a portal I had opened to New York. "Does anyone else wants to fuck with me?" I asked out loud, and surprisingly no one answered. Finally, time to see if I can get the scepter and avoid the rise of Ultron altogether. I couldn't touch the scepter, or the Mind Stone for that matter. Every time I tried, it would feel like I was pushing against an invisible wall that just didn't give in. An invisible wall, there just to protect the narrative of the fucking dungeon. For the love of God. I growled, trying to touch the scepter. I was just a few millimeters away, so close I could actually fool myself into believing I was already touching it, yet, I couldn't. This would end everything. I keep the stone, Ultron doesn't come to life, GG. I tried for a few more minutes before I decided to give up. As I did so, Nat, Tony and Hawkeye entered the room, weapons aimed at me. Buddy, you won't get the scepter, Hawkeye stated, and I couldn't help but laugh. Yeah. I know, I sighed. Grab the damn thing before he decides he wants it. Tony hissed with a smile. So about the green guy, I opened a portal beneath him, sending him to New Jersey. Go, grab the damn thing and leave. The faster you all make spaghetti, Ultron, the better. I blinked. I had tried to say Ultron, but, oh yeah, the censoring part. Okay. Hawkeye nodded, sounding unsure about the whole situation, and Nat aimed her Taza bracelets at me. Bye, I sighed, opening a portal to New York for myself, leaving the last two Avengers alone in the base, as Thor neared them. In a random coffee shop in fake New York, I sat on a table, drinking some coffee with a pair of chocolate-glazed donuts as a treat. Ironic how I was usually real money for fake shit. Oh well, it was $25. Why was I here? Well, seeing as I couldn't stop Ultron from existing in the first place, all that was left to do was wait for his robotic ass to be made and kill him. Maybe I could kill him before he became Buff Ultron. Or maybe the dungeon will stop me once again for the sake of narrative. Either way, I had no other option but to wait. Maybe I could get a massage, or something. I just needed to burn some time off. Sir, would you like some muffins? The waitress asked. Yes, too. You pick them. I smiled at the NPC, wondering if destroying the internet would stop Ultron from, escaping from the Avengers Tower. I sighed. Yes, it would work, but because of that it would not work. Oh well, I guess I'll just follow the freaking narrative the best I can. That's it for the video, guys. Hope you like the video. Like, share and subscribe. Also tell me in the comment section which kind of fanfiction you would like to watch next, or if you have a recommendation.